Welcome to the nation's top colleges and universities. We consulted with the experts to get details on the leading colleges and universities in the United States, including these sites, to find out which universities have the largest enrollment, which ones are the most expensive, which ones have the most successful grads, plus which colleges or universities have the most international students, and a lot more. Hey, this is Bob with Get Details. The latest data says there are 3,982 degree-granting post-secondary institutions in the U.S., including both colleges and universities, that offer associates, bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. Let's take a look at some of the metrics that define a top university in the United States, including but not limited to size, acceptance rate, cost, athletic prowess, demographics, and success of their graduates. Education is big business in the United States. More international students study here than in any other country. Over 1 million a year. Here are the other major educational countries. Do you know which country sends the most students to America? Now, this may surprise you. At number 5 is Vietnam, with almost 25,000 students. Next, Canada, more than 30,000. South Korea is third, sending more than 48,000 students to study in the U.S. Then we take a huge jump to India. In second place, nearly 269,000 students. And the top international source of U.S. college students is China, almost 290,000 this year. And China has been the world's biggest fan of U.S. education for the past 15 years straight. Now let's get details on the top U.S. colleges and universities, starting with size. Which universities have the largest enrollment? At number 5, it's the Pennsylvania State University, with about 88,900 students, both on campus and online. Next, number 4 is Liberty University, roughly 94,700, which includes a substantial online body. At number 3, there are over 103,000 students who study with Grand Canyon University, both online and in person. The runner-up is Southern New Hampshire University, with a mix of about 145,500 students both online and in person. And the number 1 university by enrollment in the U.S. is Western Governors University, at over 150,000 students, all online. Those are universities with sizable online enrollments. But what about schools with the highest physical in-person enrollment? Number 5, Florida International University with 47,246. Next, Ohio State University, almost 56,000. Number 3, the University of Central Florida at 61,456. The runner-up is Texas A&M with approximately 61,617 students. And the university with the most in-person students is Arizona State University, home to over 75,000 undergrads and graduate students. And speaking of international students, which educational facility has the highest number of students from other countries? At number 5, the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, with nearly 13,000 international students. Next, in New York City, number 4 is Columbia University, with 14,000 students from other nations. Number 3 belongs to Northeastern University in Boston, about 14,100 international students. Second, USC, the University of Southern California, with 16,000 international students. And the number 1 university for overseas students is NYU in New York, with over 19,000 international students. As we mentioned earlier, China and India are far out in front of all the other nations sending students here. What are they studying? Math and computer science, business and management, engineering, natural sciences like biochemistry, and other technology-related disciplines. They come to the U.S. because of the quality of education. We're talking about the top universities and colleges here in the United States. With almost 4,000 schools, most students should be able to find a school to accept them. But it's a different story for the top caliber universities. Here are the acceptance rates for the top 10 most difficult universities. At number 4 is Dartmouth College, which only admits 6% of their applicants. And that's not a lot, but the numbers get smaller from here. Number 3, a three-way tie at 5%. Yale University, University of Chicago, and Brown University. At number 2, it's a three-way tie among Stanford University, MIT, and Columbia University, all at 4% acceptance rate. And we have a tie for first between Caltech and Harvard, both admitting a paltry 3% of applicants. It can be really tough to get into the top schools, but the payoff is well worth it. The median annual earnings for a full-time worker with a bachelor's degree is about $32,000 more each year, meaning college grads will earn more than twice as much as the typical high school grad. Of course, there are always exceptions, but these are the averages. That's a lot of money, but how much does tuition cost at the most expensive colleges in the U.S.? You may be surprised to find out the most expensive universities are not Ivy League schools. It's also interesting the top 5 schools are all within about $2,000 of each other, which is statistically almost a tie. But for ranking, at number 5 is Vassar College, $70,480 per year. At number 4, Sarah Lawrence College, $70,512. At number 3, tuition at Columbia University will set you back about $70,524. At number 2, Franklin and Marshall College, $70,556. And at number 1, barely more expensive, is Kenyon College, $71,196 per year. These are the full costs before any financial aid, scholarships, or grants are applied. The actual cost can vary quite a bit. And which colleges and universities best prepare their graduates for success? In other words, which school has the most successful grads? A quick glance says Ivy League school grads excel in numerous fields, such as business, politics, science, and the arts. For instance, here are some famous students and their Ivy League schools. From Harvard, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Barack Obama, John Adams, John Quincy Adams, Rutherford B. Hayes, John F. Kennedy, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, George Bush, plus 15 U.S. Supreme Court justices, including John Roberts and Elena Kagan. And there are governors and many other CEOs of large and important corporations. And don't forget about Yale with 2 U.S. presidents, James Madison and Woodrow Wilson, Supreme Court Justices Sonia Sotomayor, Samuel Alito, and Clarence Thomas. Princeton boasts 2 presidents, James Madison and Woodrow Wilson. 3 presidents also attended Columbia University in addition to Harvard. That's Franklin and Theodore Roosevelt and Barack Obama. And there are quite a few non-Ivy League schools too that put out a lot of successful grads, like Stanford University and MIT, along with the University of Chicago and Duke University. Now that was interesting, but what about sports? Do the big brain guys in the Ivy League excel there too? Well, let's find out. There are about 1,100 schools in the NCAA, the largest athletic organization in America. Other notable associations include the National Junior College Athletic Association, with about 500 members, and the NAIA, with about 243. But let's concentrate on the biggest. In men's basketball, UCLA holds the record with 11 championships. For women, it's UConn, also with 11 championships. Football, the American kind, that's the University of Alabama, with an impressive 18 national championships. In the other kind of football, or what we call soccer, it's St. Louis University for the men with 10 national championships, and UNC, the University of North Carolina, dominating the women's soccer world with an unprecedented 21 national championships. In baseball, it's USC with 12 national championships. And finally, volleyball. For the men, it's UCLA, 19 amazing national championships. And the top women's volleyball team is Stanford with 9 national titles. Now you know which schools cost the most, have the most students, the most successful grads, and a lot more. But what about beauty? Which campuses are the most beautiful? I'm not going to stick my neck out, so here are the top 30 in no particular order. They're all beautiful places to get the best education in the world. And now you know, those are the top colleges and universities in the United States. Hey, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out our other videos on a variety of subjects and get details.